Hi everybody, it's me, the Kadoozie. Well. It is Wednesday, and tomorrow night my show opens in LA. And I cannot tell you how unbelievably grateful I am that everybody raised the money through the Kickstarter for me to be able to do this. In honor of that, we are going to rerun, the first time ever in the history of the Kadoozie cast, we are going to rerun my podcast with me and Enrico Colantoni, the man who's directing me. I want you to hear what the process is like, how we got to work together, and I just want you to know that I'm so grateful. That's really the truth. And I hope you come out. I hope if you're in LA, you tell your friends. It's at the Acme Comedy Theater, 135 North La Brea. Thursday, June 13th, Friday, June 14th, Saturday, June 15th, and Sunday, June 16th, 8 p.m. Come on by. It's also all the information's at SueCostello.com. But let's see. Now I don't know what's going to happen. And after Sunday night, I will have known what happened. It's so exciting. Oh my gosh. It's just my life story and my soul and the way I saw the world or the way I see the world out there. No big deal. Please come. Please tell your friends. Okay. Here's me and Rico. Hi everybody, it's me, the Kadoozie, and here we are for another episode of the Kadoozie Cast. Oh my gosh, and today I am here. This is the first time it's ever being announced, I think, publicly to all my millions of listeners. The director of my show in LA this June, the one, the only, Enrico Colantoni, everybody!
You hear the crowd? The crowd goes crazy. They're everywhere. I didn't know you brought them with you.
But I've been keeping it under wraps.
Who's Space calling you?
Oh, that's my hair.
Oh, you call it Space?
That's the name of the place.
Oh, I thought it was like Space TV.
Oh, I have like do not answer and asshole and everything.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny.
Trouble. One's trouble.
That's funny. That's so funny. I'm gonna redo it all.
Too bad they didn't call.
Yeah.
All right, so I've never told anybody that you were going to be the director.
I know, it's so cool. We've been keeping it to ourselves for the longest time.
But I think it was important to keep it to ourselves.
I think so.
I've learned so much in my long, illustrious career.
Well, you were ready. You weren't ready to bring anody in.
No.
You were sort of like, a divine entity came inside you and reminded you of me somehow. I don't know how that you woke up and you started...
It did, and which we can talk about that as we go along, because it did. One day, it just came to me, and I said, Enrico Colantoni, we should be the director.
And the whole time, without you even calling me, thinking, you know what, I really want to direct something. I really want to do... I told you that.
I know, but how weird is
it was sort of so serendipitous, because it was perfect. I'd been on Flashpoint for 5, and I was tired of carrying a gun and breaking down doors, and I go, I want to start using my imagination again. I can't do a play, but I'd like to direct something. Almost within a week's period, you called.
No, come on. Because people really need to hear that. Because I really think that if you slow down enough, that the world...
Yeah.
If you listen.
Listens, yeah.
And you were in LA, and I was in New York, or you were in Toronto?
I was in... I don't know where I was, but...
But we worked together 15 years ago.
We did that. And we did... You were guesting on some talk show. What were you doing?
Yeah, and I invited you.
Yeah,
and I invited Craig Ferguson, and he still won't let me be on his show now.
What a doof.
Whatever. I'll get on there, and then I'll remind him.
Yeah. That's always good for talk show humor. You know what? I thought you were an asshole. But now you invited me, you're okay.
I don't think you're an asshole. I just think I remember I picked you, I picked the kid from American Pie, I picked Craig Ferguson, and I picked Larry Flint.
And 3 out of the 4 came on?
No, Larry Flint
didn't come on?
Yeah,
you did, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All 4 of you guys came on.
But you were covering for who was the...
Greg Kinnear had just left, and it was the show later on NBC.
No, somebody else had taken over after Greg Kinnear, and it was you.
They did?
Yeah, tall guy. Really, really tall guy.
Oh, the guy who did Comedy Central afterwards. Craig
Kilborn.
Craig Kilborn. Whatever happened to him?
I don't know.
I'll have to get him on the Kadoozie.
He went down the way of Jimmy Hoffa.
I'll have to get him on the Kadoozie Cast and ask him what happened to him.
Have him come over.
All right, so Enrico Colantoni. All right, so we did the pilot, we did the pilot called Queens.
Yeah.
And I might
later. You think there was like a correlation between our Queens and the King of Queens?
Oh, I don't know. I always thought that Two Broke Girls was more like it.
Really? But that was a lot of years later.
But it's the same idea, right? Because it was like a rich girl and a poor girl, and the rich girl had to move to.
Is that what it was? I don't remember. I mean, Penny Miller.
It was like a huge, momentous time in my life. Every guy I do this podcast with, I always remember everything. And they're like, "Sue, I don't remember."
I remember Queens, and I remember you, and I remember Penny Miller was in it, and Judge Reinhold.
Yes, but
I remember we were neighbors. We were like the Queens couple, and they were like the Midtown couple who had to move to Queens.
We were the what do you call it? The superintendents.
Oh yeah?
Oh no, they became the superintendents. That's how they got the job.
Or something, yeah.
They were rich, and he lost all their money.
Yeah, he lost
moved.
Everything, and she had to work at the Kmart or something.
Yes, with me.
You got her the job?
No, she hated me, but then she had to work there because she needed money.
That's right, she did hate you.
My name was Bob, and I couldn't even say it.
Bob. Hey, Bob.
But wait a minute, so, because Eliana Douglas got fired, that's how I ended up there.
I don't know. Did she get fired?
I think so.
I think she wanted to go.
Well, the call I got was, the call I got was, Les Moonves called me and said Eliana Douglas got fired. Well, maybe that was he was like getting ahead of the story.
Is Eliana one of your million listeners?
Now I'm in trouble with Craig Ferguson and Eliana Douglas. She's one of my million listeners.
Somebody's at the door. Holy shit.
All right, maybe it was mutual. I never heard her side of the story. I'll have to have her on. I'm getting like a whole need of cats right now.
I hadn't seen her since either.
Whatever happened, he called me at midnight. I had done I was supposed to do another pilot. I was supposed to be on Murphy Brown. I got fired. I was supposed to do another pilot. They fired me from that. And then I get to a call at 12 o'clock. It was midnight on a Friday night. And they were like, is Sue Costello there? And I literally thought it was like American Express or something. I was like, this is Sue Costello. She said, I have Les Moonves calling for you. And he's like, Costello! Can you get on a plane tomorrow? Eliana Douglas and I mutually agreed. Mutually agreed that this is not going to work. And so I had to, I flew in. I had the flu. I remember I saw this good-looking guy in the airport. It was Brendan Fraser. I didn't know who it was. I was just like, that guy's hot. And then I sat beside him on the plane. And I had boogies rolling down my nose and everything because I was so sick. Yeah, and he kept talking to me. And I was like, ah.
I bet you he doesn't remember. You remember everything.
I'm going to have to have it.
I remember everything about everybody I meet. The sad thing is that they don't.
It's only the guy.
It's a curse.
It's a curse, really. And sometimes it's just the guys lying, pretending.
Isn't that so like your show that you wrote so beautifully? Isn't that it's like you're getting fired from all these shows, Sue. It's like something was resisting success. Part of you was saying, fuck success.
I like this horrific, anxiety-ridden. No, I don't.
Yeah, but I mean, not even to get therapeutic, but isn't that just so part of? I mean, I came from humble beginnings. My parents were immigrants, so we had an immigrant mentality. It's taken everything I know just to not fuck it up.
Mm-hmm. Well, and also the Murphy Brown, and I can say that my decisions were always based in good decisions, but they might not have been sophisticated enough. Like when I was supposed to do Murphy Brown, that to me was the right decision because it seemed like a more solid decision. I had to make a decision at the time. Yeah. But she didn't. Something was going on with the network with them where she was like, forget it.
Yeah, and I'm not even saying that you directly contributed to being fired, like you did some asshole thing or something. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking more on a spiritual level, which you talk about in your show.
Well, I ran around a lot. I just did whatever they told me to do. I never slowed down enough.
Said, okay, now you got me, I'm present.
So which brings us to me showing up in the Queen set, and this is why I knew in my gut to ask you to be the director. You were playing basketball. We did the table read.
Yeah.
And you literally, as we did the table read, you jerked your head up and you looked over at me like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Which is exactly the way that Matthew Broderick looked at me when I did this reading with him. Just jerks the head up and just looks at me like I didn't know that kind of funny was going to come out of that person is what it feels like.
That's what it was.
And so, and it was funny because Penelope had a meeting with Jim Burrows right after the table read, and you and Judge Reinhold were playing basketball. And you were like, oh, Penelope's having a meeting with Jim saying, I wanted somebody funny, but not funnier than me. And I was like, shh, be quiet. I'm going to get fired again. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm going to get fired. Because that's what I felt like on Murphy Brown. I was trying not to be fired. I was like, just be quiet, Sue, so you don't get fired. And I remember thinking, oh, I love that guy. Because you got it. Mm-hmm. And then 15 years later, I said, but I didn't even know if you ever directed anything or anything. But you went to school where?
I went to the Yale School of Drama.
Yeah.
So, we covered the classics.
And you covered directing. You took at least one directing class,
but
right?
you know what? The late, great Earl Gister, who was the dean of the acting school there, really gave us a technique and overview. Do you know what I mean? To really not just see it from an actor's perspective, but really from the story, the playwright, the intentions, and things like that. So that's my background.
But also there has to be something about, all right, well, we might as well talk about the show first, and then we'll talk about you afterwards.
Why not?
Because that's where we went.
Yeah.
So there must be something about you, a generosity. I don't know what it is, because I've been working on the show for 15 years by myself. So to have somebody come in, and meanwhile, mind you, I got a standing ovation at the New York Comedy Festival, right before me and you started working together.
Yeah.
I got a standing ovation at the New York Comedy Festival. People were like comparing it to like, Sue, it's like Van Morrison and like all this crazy stuff. So for me to be able to say to myself, Sue, you can still make it better. Yeah. After going against but I already got a standing ovation.
Yeah.
To be able to let somebody come in. So we met first in Queens.
Yeah.
Remember you came and you took the train? Uh-huh. And we met over at the Creek and Cave. Uh-huh. And we sat together. And the first thing you said to me is what the name of the show should be.
That was bold. I'm bald.
You are bald.
It was bold.
But it was good. Because it was bold enough to, you put it in my head.
Yeah.
And then I, let it marinate.
Yeah.
Because I don't just give in either. That wouldn't be good.
No.
So then we sat and we talked about the script a little bit.
You know what? The truth is, it's so much from your heart and from your soul. I think you're going to get standing ovations regardless of how clear it is, how efficient your movement is, and all that stuff. People are going to appreciate it because it's all heart and it's all soul. You know what I mean? You could do that anywhere and people are going to love it, Sue. All I knew is that, just based on the video you gave me, it was just a matter of, okay, you really have to preserve your energy. You can't just keep running around.
Talk about it, because I was just going to say,
you know what I mean?
Okay, so maybe I could get standing ovations that way, but that brings us back to what you were saying about getting the fired and running around doing all those TV shows.
Yeah.
I was like, everybody was saying it was great, and I was thinking, but I want help.
Yeah.
But I want to treat myself kindly, and I want to be able to do it and run it for a while, and I want to be able to do it efficiently and take care of myself.
Yeah. Because what it is right now, and this is why I think you and I are so good together, because what I recognize in you is the caretaker in you. You step in front of an audience of a million people, you're going to want to take care of all of them. And that's the energy you put out. You won't last, you won't be able to do that a week, 7 nights. You just won't. It's too much. So you need somebody like me and a stage manager and a choreographer to say, okay, we're gonna nurture you. We're gonna take care of you so you can get your message across clearly and efficiently. That's it.
And not at the expense of myself.
Yeah. No. Preserve your energy. What we're trying to do is not make you exhausted, but give you more energy by doing it, by staying focused, by...
And the show itself is enough to give them, is what I've realized.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's awesome.
But it's really funny that you say that because I used to think about my talent. Like, I don't know if I ever thought, like, I always knew I was talented. It's almost like a little girl I saw with red hair when I used to waitress. She was sitting on the end of the table, and she started screaming at her mother, move me, move me, move me. And the mother was like, what's wrong? And she's like, they're going to see my hair. Oh. She didn't want everybody to comment on her hair on the end of the table. And I was like, that's how I feel sometimes with my talent. Like, I didn't want to show it because I was like, I'm going to have to take care of everybody after the show, and I can't. It's too exhausting. So what I realize now is I'm like, my show is my gift.
Yeah, and walk away.
But you're downplaying your own role in this because when I sat with you first in Queens, we've also gone very gently with it, which is awesome. Instead of like trying to just
absolutely, that's my favorite part.
Do it and like letting
slow,
it really be
organic,
creative.
As organic as you spent 15 years developing this. You don't need somebody to come in and just impose something on you after it's been with you for 15 years. But
you impose the exact right things on me, which totally helps me listen.
Yeah, because
like sometimes you're like, I don't agree with you, and I'm like, yeah, he's right.
Yeah, but look, first of all, I don't not agree with you because it's your story.
Right.
How can I not agree?
No, we were talking about a direction or something. I was saying I should stand here or something, and you said you moved the chair. And I thought, I like that you can say that to me.
Yeah. You're probably because I was trying to save you energy.
Right. But I mean, if you were a pushover, that wouldn't work either.
No, I'm not a pushover.
No, that's what I'm trying to say.
And what I'm trying to... Okay, what are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say that... Okay, so after we sat together in Queens, I left, and it took me a couple of days. I was like, I've never felt that kind of intimacy ever in my life, like for somebody to actually see me. It was like I had to recover a couple of days and be like, all right, so you can handle this. You can handle somebody actually.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
That's great.
It took me like days to be able to be like, okay, you can handle him seeing you.
That's crazy.
Because the reason why I want you to come along is to help, which they say, like I've talked to like huge successful business guys and they've always said hire somebody that has the strengths that will help your weaknesses.
Isn't that nice?
And that's what I feel like you came right in and you were able to see where I was having weaknesses. So then we worked together in LA, which, oh my God, did we laugh so hard about when I was moving my head from side to side?
Where you looking?
Where you looking? I was giving myself whiplash.
Where you looking? I'm going to turn around now. I'm going to do everything I can to not look at the audience.
But how hard we laughed instead of it being like so precious. Like I was like, oh, no wonder I am tired. It's tiring to whip my head around.
No wonder I'm tired. I didn't understand why I was so exhausted. Those jumping jacks between scenes didn't exhaust you?
When I would hide under the couch and do my legs.
Extracurricular movements.
So then you see it and you help me a tiny bit, but also I realized like what happened with you, it had to happen with you before I can do it with the audience. So I let you see me while we sat in Queens. I went away, I healed, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to trust this guy to let the audience see me.
And then I healed.
And then you what?
And then you healed.
But I think we should tell people the new name too, because I haven't announced that either.
Well,
you say it.
I'm not going to say it because I know you reworded it.
I didn't. I just took the butt off of it.
You did?
Yeah, that's all.
I wasn't trying to be funny.
I wasn't trying to be funny.
Yeah.
And everybody I tell the name to, they're like, it's awesome.
So I said, but I wasn't trying to be funny.
Because I say it a whole bunch of times in the in the show.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much...
Which is, what was your original name? Like a 500...
Oh, it went through so many
55,000 words? What? I go, what? Are you telling them how long you're going to be talking? Is that the title is based on how many words I'm going to be saying before they can leave? 5,500,000. It's like Rent. 555,000.
No, I went through different stages with it. And the first show was called "The Life and Times of a Band Fag."
Of a band fag? Okay. I'm glad I wasn't around for that one. It's like, really?
And then it got changed to "The Evolution of a Sexy Motherfucker."
Why don't you just call it the Bible? Just give it an arbitrary name.
And then it went to minus 32 million words. So I went from from a childish name to my like Christina
sexy,
Aguilera like dirty stage. To my intellectual stage.
Yes.
Because the minus 32 million words
that's
is
smart.
about...
That's going to make everybody go. The show's halfway over, so I still haven't figured out the title. I got to come back. Genius marketing. Confuse them so heavily with the title, they'll have to come back 2 and 3 times to really understand what's going on.
What other actress could let you shit on them now? I just laughed.
Well, it took you 15 years, but it's good to be here. It's good.
Oh my God! How about when we did the Skype and you were like, "Sue, get out from underneath the rock."
It's time to show. It's time to show up.
It's ready.
Believe me. And again, Sue, you know what? We're simpatico because I get it. I want to hide too. I want to hide. We both want to hide, and we help each other. We heal each other, honey. I'm telling you.
I wanted to hide. I'm not. I don't want.
This match was made how many years ago? I swear to God.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because I also want to say, so we work together. This is stuff you don't know. So we work together and I've done everything. I've been everywhere. I've been around the famous people. I've been in gorgeous houses. I've been on yachts in the south of... I've been everywhere. I left... We were in the little dance studio in L.A. Mm-hmm. I left there. I went to Starbucks. I got a bagel. I sat in the car and I ate my bagel. And I'm like, this is the most joy that I've ever felt in my life. And I was like, let it swirl around inside your body, Sue. Just let it swirl around inside your body. Aww.
That's great.
Oh, it made you cry.
Well, don't say it out loud.
Yeah, come on, it's the podcast. Why?
Because...
That moved you is what I'm saying.
Yeah, because it's what we both want.
But I literally was like, this is... to collaborate with somebody. And when I tell people the story, they're like, Sue, that's what everybody wants. And that's what the show is almost about in terms of collaborating with another human being and being able to, like, see each other. And we were talking about... before we turned the mic on, about how funny, like, I know you like the back of my hand now, like, I got to give you all the instructions and then you show up.
If you give me too much room to hang myself, I usually do. But if you tell me, we got an hour and a half, we'll go, okay, we're ready to work.
But you get in the room and you work like crazy.
Because I know what you need.
And you said to me in LA that was the easiest thing that you've ever done, which was nice.
Well, it certainly was the most fun. Because you know what? You start off. When I left Toronto, I was 20 years old, and I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I wanted to go to this acting school called the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York City. But I was a 20-year-old kid. I didn't know why I wanted to be there. I didn't know what I had. I just knew I had to run. I was running from, not an overly abusive family. It was an Italian family. It was loud. It was everything that was cultural about growing up in an Italian family. My parents worked hard. They weren't dysfunctional in any way. They were busting their ass. But there wasn't a lot of room for, speaking up and speaking for yourself. So I always thought the pursuit of wanting to be an actor was my way of saying I need to find my voice. And it was always about that. It was always about I wanted to do plays, I wanted to do things, I wanted to collaborate, I wanted to keep going on and get better to hone my voice. And then you think success and money is going to enhance that, but it really didn't.
I found that it hurt it more.
It does. And then I had kids, and so suddenly the artist had to take care. So he took jobs he didn't really necessarily want to do for his soul, but he did for the paycheck. Because he's got to feed his kids. And so that's like almost 20 years now of doing television show after television show. And what I used to do was do a play when I was on Just Shoot Me. I'd do a play every year. I did Macbeth and Uncle Vanya, just to kind of remind me why the fuck I wanted to do this in the first place. But since I sort of went into the single camera with Veronica Mars and Flashpoint, there's no time to do a play. Mm-hmm. So that's like a good 10 years of going... loving what I do, because it's always there, but really, really dissatisfied with what are we doing? Are we really collaborating? I'm coming in as a gun for hire. I'm saying these words and I'm moving on. to be able to work with somebody, an artist, somebody I respect and is incredibly talented, and for them the honor of the absolute gift you've given me by sharing your life and working like that and really taking our time and nurturing it in more and more and more and through an organic way is exactly what the soul needs. That same spirit when I was 20 years old looking for something. And you're listening. You're hearing me. You see me like I see you.
Yeah, even in terms of like what you need. Like I'm like, oh, Rico needs to know all the information.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you joke with me and I don't get it because I'm so worried. I realize that a lot.
Yeah.
People joke with me and I'm like,
I just think you're a funny person. You're going to get the humor, but you're really not trying to be funny, are you?
No. No, not in this circumstance either. No, yeah. My natural instinct is always to care before being funny.
Yeah.
It's always that, no matter what.
But that's what's so brilliant about you. That's why you're so funny. Because it comes from not trying to be funny.
No, and my whole life.
How many people do you see wanting to be funny? I go,
it's exhausting.
My son, God bless him. I love him to death. But he's 15 years old. But he's just trying to make me laugh. Mm-hmm. And then when he does something just naturally, I bust up.
Right.
And he goes, "Oh, there it is.
Back.
There you go. How do I recreate that?" I go, "No.
It's natural.
I can't even begin to explain to you what you did versus what you try to do."
Right. But he's 15. Hopefully he'll settle into it. Yeah. He'll get into it. But,
he'll get it.
That's what I used to always say. That even when I had my TV show, I was like, I don't try to be funny. I just am funny. Yeah. And I didn't know how. And then it would get me in trouble, too. Mm-hmm. So then I would hide it sometimes because I didn't want to get fired from everything because I didn't even know what I was doing. Like on Murphy Brown, perfect example. I was hiding in my dressing room because I didn't know what I was doing wrong. And I went to go to get my lunch. And I walked by the table and Faith, the girl played Corky, she... had her friend from Italy. And all she said to me was something like, Sue, do you speak Italian? I go, Excellente, that's all I know. And they laughed so loud, and I remember thinking, shh.
Uh-oh. Easy.
Shh.
Easy.
I wasn't trying to, I was like, really meant that's all, the only Italian I knew.
Right?
But so it's taken me my whole life to figure out that I don't try to be funny. And I even think about the stand-up, like this, that's what's so profound to me, because like Lawrence Fishburne has told me that my dramatic acting is even better than how funny I am.
Yeah. I've never seen you. I've seen you, but I don't know. What has he seen you in?
I did his movie. I did his
What'd you do?
Once in a Life. I auditioned with him in the room, cold.
Wow. Yeah.
And he just was like Sue Costello. Him and Titus Welliver were like,
You're all hard, honey.
Yeah,
You're
I think that's
hard.
it.
Oh, yeah.
And so then what happened was I started getting the movies. I went to school for theater and I started getting the movies and everything, but the TV, they were making so much money because I kept doing it and I had so much stamina to take all the shit so they could make the money. It was just that. But also I look back at the stand-up now and I'm like, why did I do stand-up? And I think some of it was because it mimicked my childhood. Yeah. That kind of rough terror, getting on stage, being afraid. Yeah. They're not going to attack me.
Yeah.
So sometimes I wonder, like, isn't that funny that because even stand-up wise, I've never reached the levels that I should in terms of how funny I am.
Yeah.
And I never knew why. And so now I think with the show, I wrote, I'm showing them what it is that I do it, instead of expecting them to imagine it, because there isn't anybody else like me. And that used to make me so mad. Because I just wanted to be that girl, like the sitcom girl. Mm. And it would never happen. No matter even if I tried to go in and just be the sitcom girl.
No, you need a show that is about you.
Well, and also it shows the humor, like my sense of humor in terms of it comes from a caring place, every bit of it.
Yeah, it's like the pebble. You throw a pebble in a pool of water. You don't wait for the ripples to come back and hit you.
No.
You just move on. There's a gold nugget. You just keep moving.
Well, that happened
which is really the spirit of creativity, right? You don't wait. You just. I always admire people who have these great ideas, whether in business or in art, and get fucked over all the time. Somebody steals their idea, but it doesn't discourage them because the well of creativity comes from them. Mm-hmm. They're completely calm. The people who are stealing shit have no creativity because they have to steal it.
Right.
But the wells of creativity, they're literally giving it away.
Right.
They need somebody to say, hey, whoa, that'll cost you this.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that'll cost you that.
Right.
Because I've got the fucking well over here. And it's connected to the infinite.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And yeah, that well doesn't know how to protect itself.
Right, and that's what would happen to me because I could do it 50,000 times. I would go in those meetings and do 10 meetings, 10 general meetings, and kill, because it's just natural. Yeah. And I didn't know that every other person wasn't killing in their auditions. Yeah. And so the agents and everybody are just seeing the money, and they're like, oh, and I didn't say to them, listen, I got to rest. Yeah. I didn't know.
Well, what do you know?
Because it was kind of easy for me in a way.
Yeah. But you didn't realize.
I didn't realize
if
I took better care of myself that it would be even better. Like, and I also didn't realize, like that show, the political show that I've been doing on Viewpoint. So we go on, and they were having this argument just about not an argument, but they proposed this gay rights group put a whole bunch of clips of Laura Bush and Cheney and talking about how they were pro-gay marriage, and it turns out that Laura Bush didn't want to be in the ad. So there was going to be this whole, like, she doesn't support gay marriage. And they were clips from, like, Larry King.
She's pro-gay marriage.
She was in the clip.
She agreed in it.
Yes, in the clip, but she didn't want to be part of the ad.
Right.
So when I looked at the clips, I was like, well, they're public clips. And then I realized, like, but the whole point of this whole thing is that they didn't ask her. And I said, that's why she didn't want to be in there, because they didn't ask her. And the reason why they didn't ask her is because they knew she would pull out and get the press, and that's the culture we live in. And literally, it was the first thing I said. And the host just, like... Everybody was quiet. Oh, I know what I said. I said, well, the only way I can describe it is like, I like sex, but I don't want to be in an ad for porno. And it was like, they were quiet. And I remember thinking, like, that wasn't that weird of a thing to say. Like, we're supposed to be funny. I'm like,
smart.
Right? Yeah. So I was like, well, maybe because I said sex, but it was kind of a joke. I wasn't saying, like, they knew I was joking. Yeah. And so and they were like, Sue, you were so great. You were so great. And I left, and I felt like, oh, did I do something wrong? And then all of a sudden, then the girl emails me, and she said, I heard the host saying, Sue, you changed my mind. You changed my mind about Laura Bush.
Yeah.
And then she emailed me. And then she emailed, no, he didn't. Yeah. She emailed me that he was talking about it the next day. He's like, we have to have Sue on again because she changed my mind. And I'm like, oh. Yeah. That's why they were quiet, because they had never thought of that ever. But what I used to do is go home and go, I'm a weirdo.
Yeah. I know, but you know what? That touches on a whole other thing for me. Everybody thinks they got to pick sides. Yeah. And the polarity in this country is already it's killing us. And you're not polarized, Sue.
No, and that's what I find that they're liking on the show. That's even right. Last night I was like...
That's right. And you make the non-polarity funny.
Yes.
You know, by saying something that sort of cuts to the chase. It's really beautiful. Me, on the other hand, I just don't contribute, which is not so funny, because people think I'm being aloof and indifferent.
In terms of the politics?
Yeah.
Because it's very touchy,
because I'm naturally not political.
Right.
I mean, I could walk both lines easily, because there's part of me that agrees and disagrees on every issue. But to say something like that, I love sex, but I'm not going to endorse porn. It's like, oh yeah.
That's what made them, I think that's what made them actually see it. Yeah. That I put it in that context so that they could understand it.
Because we're so used to defining people as black or white, we forget that nobody really is.
Nobody. But I think I'm not political, I'm more of a humanitarian. Yeah. So I'm bringing my humanitarian.
Let's bring that.
Let's
bring that, yeah.
And I'm like, now I'm on a political show, it's like, oh, okay.
Good. All the more reason to have a humanitarian on a political show.
But not in a way that I'm like, oh, like holier than thou. Like they were talking about Dennis Rodman going to North Korea. And I'm like, I actually think it's a good thing.
Yeah. Why?
Well, because he was also talking about basketball with Kim. I always forget how to say his name. Kim Jong-un. Yeah. So, but he's like, he likes basketball. Obama likes basketball. Why don't they talk about basketball? And I'm like, he actually has a point. Like if you think about with a criminal. Yeah. Like, what do? They go, oh, so you're a Celtics fan? Yeah. And the guy's like, yeah, I'm a Celtics fan. And then they start talking about Celtics, and then what do? The next thing you know, they have a human connection. The guy tells the truth. Boom!
So you're saying we should manipulate
Not manipulate.
North Korea
Well, he needs something.
Yeah. Well,
Is that manipulation?
Look.
No, it's connecting on the human level.
Well, I think it's all a manipulation, not in the bad sense.
All of life is?
I think so, to get to a common place. Consciously or unconsciously, you know what I mean? But not in the manipulation to get you to jump off and to drink the Kool-Aid.
Right.
I'm talking about really, really, a smart person is a conscious manipulator of getting somebody to meet them halfway, don't you think?
Well, yeah, and I also think, like, to some extent, that's also having, like, a standing for something, like believing in something. Like, you have to believe in something. Like, I believe in humanity.
But you believe in humanity.
Right. So I would like people that hear me talk about that. Right.
So do I.
But some people don't want to believe in it.
And I believe in the human connection. You're absolutely right. And there is no real disagreement or agreement. You believe in what you believe, I believe in what I believe, and that's it. We can coexist.
But I also think that I'm totally open, like if somebody ever tells me a different... Because I believe in everything isn't black or white.
Look, you know what? The first rule I learned in theater school, you can do anything you want up there, just don't hurt anybody. You know what I mean? Don't go punching somebody in the head.
Yeah.
Don't go throwing the chairs and destroying the furniture. But you're allowed to explore it in any way you want. You can say anything you want.
Yeah, and that's like the improv thing where they say the only thing you don't do is say no.
Yeah. You agree.
Yes,
with the reality and go and yes and.
And you add
yes,
instead
and,
of taking,
yes, and,
instead
yes,
of depleting.
You know, so theater school was my first teacher. Mm-hmm. I mean, my dad and my mom, they taught me something very valuable, but they couldn't say, you know, son, when the rain, you know, like some beautiful proverb that they have, that they repeated over and over. I never got that. I started to learn how to be an adult through theater school. Mm-hmm. And those are the values that I bring into my life. You're generous with, you know, you give.
You listen.
You listen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You make it about your scene partner. You know, you help your scene partner get to the next moment, and then it becomes, you strive for the beautiful game of tennis where it's just whack,
and reciprocal,
whack, whack.
Which is like working with somebody who's talented. Like, I always like working with really talented people. I'm not one of those people that want to be the only person.
I always hope for more talented than me.
Yeah. What do they say? If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I feel like that's
funny.
People with talents and brains, though, because we're not as afraid to be around and open.
Hey, man, you can be the most talented person in the world. If you're willing to share it with me, I'm going to climb. But if you're going to be an ass and just think that it's really about you, suddenly that negates all your talent and all your genius, because you're missing the point.
Well, you're in ego and not in...
Yeah, exactly.
Humility.
Your ego is bigger than your...
Well, I was going to say about when we did when we went to that dance studio. Like, there was no glamour to that. Nobody was watching us. We didn't have anybody paying us. I paid for the theater, whatever it cost, $15.
Yeah.
And we went in and worked. And I was like, that is pure.
It was a little room, probably the smallest room in the studio. It smelled like...
It had
bacteria.
That burst. No, it had that burst thing that would burst
that starburst. That starburst air freshener.
But I swear to God, those are the things in life. When you have memories looking back, you'll be like, "That was the best time when we used to go to that dance studio."
Of course. When I come back to New York, that's all I think about.
Is
those days where I didn't have money for the subway. Mm-hmm. And funny how now those are my favorite times. In the moment, it was like a bad, turbulent airplane ride.
But it always worked out. That's the thing that it always works out. Yeah. Until you're dead.
Yeah, until you're dead. And then, hopefully, I believe something better.
Yeah,
something better is going to work out, too.
You're in a different spirit. That's all.
Yeah.
That's why we have to be quiet, so we can listen to the other people.
Yeah, and then speak up when you need to.
No, I mean listen to the people that died, that passed.
Oh, yeah.
If you're quiet, you can listen to them. Or you can listen to you saying in L.A. or in Toronto, I want to do something creative, and I can go, I want Enrico to direct my show. I mean, and the other thing is, this is the other thing that I'll say. Yes, I might be talking about humanity. Yes, I might be saying what I believe. But I also, people see it on the way that I look, in my body, my energy. It's like I'm not just saying it. Like, I actually live it.
Yeah.
And people would just tell me I was crazy if they didn't believe it. They're attracted to it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, what is it? The perpetual train wreck? Is that what you're saying? It's like, what? I don't know.
What do you mean?
I don't even know what I mean.
No, I mean that
like,
if I was walking around doing my show about hope and everything, then people would just be like, she's a loser and that's a horrible show. They would not be giving me standing ovations. They are attracted to it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but you're not giving them a show about how sucky your life was.
No, I'm saying they're attracted to the hope.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're not.
Right. That's what you're saying. That's innate in you. It's innate. It's a natural part of Sue Costello.
And everybody says, well, they'll watch all this ugly stuff. And I'm like, that because they respond to what you give them.
Yeah.
I really
Nobody hears that.
Nobody hears what?
Nobody hears that in your story.
Nothing. I know, it was so funny when you said to me, I had this whole story in my head. It is nice to have you reflect it back to me because I'm like, oh, and then I screwed this up and that. And you're like, Sue, I don't see any of that. You're like, I see a girl who just had tons of shit happen and he just kept going.
Kept going. Who wasn't trying to be funny.
No. And everybody was laughing.
But who saw the hope in everything.
And the funniness and like, hilarity and like...
Later you saw... Oh, right. Later you saw the humor in the tragedy.
But even during it all, like when I don't want to give away the whole show, but when I had the job when I was younger, like I saw the funniness in that. Like most people could be so sad and like upset about everything not being perfect. That's what it is. It's like, I don't think I know everything. I don't think I know that because somebody might be different that's worse than me. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe they're better off than me. Who the hell am I?
Yeah.
Maybe living in my skin, worrying about something is really dumb and shallow when they're in their skin.
Yeah.
Who am I to say that? Like when something tragic happens to somebody, everybody's so tragic, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. I think we could all use a dose of that first job you had.
We can say I was working with high-functioning mentally challenged people. That's really what changed my life.
Yeah.
Because it was so loving. It was almost like I identified with them more than anything else I had ever seen in my life.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
And then there's all the jokes through the whole show where I'm like, well, I am, I'm not, I am, I'm not, I'm not sure. Maybe I'm mentally challenged, and who cares?
You didn't write that down.
I didn't write what down.
What you just said. That's funny.
Yeah, it's in there.
It is?
Yeah.
I am not sure, I'm not sure.
No, like the time when I say, when I get interviewed for the job, I'm like, oh, I'm not. And then I say with, my sitcom, and I go, oh, you can't tell if she's tenacious or...
That's funny.
Yeah,
I remember that. But you didn't say it.
I didn't say it that way.
Don't follow everything I say.
That's all right. Don't worry.
Because you're thinking I'm mad or something. I don't know.
You're mad.
Was he mad?
I always think you're... I don't know what you talk... You mess with me with the emails. And I don't know what you're talking about. I want everybody to be happy. And then you send me wise-ass emails. And I'm like, what does he mean? And my friend's like, he's just fucking with you. So she told me right off the bat. I'm like, I hope he is. I think that's what people... That's when they see my purity. That's when they see my pure heart. It really is, right?
It reinforces she's not trying to be funny.
And she's not...
I'm trying to be funny. And she's like, what?
I'm like scared.
She's like, what?
All right, so what else can we tell people about you before we...
What do you got? Who called? Space, friggin...
No, Flinny and Gert.
Gert.
That's my friends. That's my posse, Flinny and Gert. No. In Space, I'm supposed to get my haircut.
Nobody's calling me.
Because you have to go to work on...
You're person of interest.
But it's aside from all the emotional stuff...
Yeah.
You're a successful motherfucker.
You know what? Let's talk about that.
I really do want to, because...
Because you know what? I won an award Sunday night.
You did? High five! What was
Thanks. Well, the Canadian Screen Awards is honors like film and television. It's like the Canadian Emmys, right?
Right.
And I won Best Dramatic Actor in a Continuing Role.
In Flashpoint?
For Flashpoint, yeah.
Now, can we see Flashpoint?
Yeah, it's on ION. It was on CBS.
Yeah.
And now it's on ION, and they repeat the shit out of it.
Is that
yeah, it's a cable. It's a smaller cable company in the United States.
Because I always see people tweet at you that's like a cult following you have there.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to watch it.
Yeah, no. You've never seen it?
No.
Do you get ION? Do you get like...
I have to check it out. But I could probably get it online, too, if I can find it.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So you got... And what, were you there?
I was there. And it was great because it was the first time the two mediums joined, so it was a big deal in Canada.
What do you mean the two mediums joined?
The film world and the television world came together, and they formed the Canadian Screen Awards.
Oh, cool.
Because up until last year was the Geminis were TV and the Genies were film. And now
so it's more like the Golden Globes.
Yeah,
Emmys,
kind of.
right?
But it was everybody was there, and it was a big deal. And I won, and I felt like this feels great. But I didn't write a speech, so I sort of mumbled through something. And the only thing I remember, I think you can YouTube it, where I said, "This is awesome, but it's never as good as getting the bloody job."
It's true.
Do you know what I mean?
As soon as you said you won the award, I was thinking, he's not going to say that it was everything everybody imagines it to be.
It's never as good as getting the bloody job, because I'm that's what my parents taught me. Mm-hmm. I'm going to approach it like a working class guy. Mm-hmm. So to me, when you say success, I go, I guess if you add all the jobs that I've done together and you look back and you go, oh, he actually was successful in what he wanted to do, I agree with you. But don't you think that the idea of success is just indefinable?
Well, it's funny because you said that and I thought, no, but you're continuing to be successful. And what I see success is you having the guts to go outside and do what you're doing with me. Like growing as a person.
Yes.
And is that working class or what is that? I think it's the mixture between the brains and the working class.
Or the art and the working class.
Yeah.
The artist, who I'm ashamed of at times because my dad and my mom were working class immigrants. For me to say, that's not good enough for me, I'm going to be an artist, seemed pretentious
that's
and
funny.
impossible.
Like you're rejecting them.
So I took what they said and I'm bringing my take on it. I'm going to say I'm going to be a working actor. Mm-hmm. Which sort of says I'm an artist, but still pays respect to them.
Right.
Maybe my kids will define themselves as artists because they see their dad as a working actor.
Right.
Maybe that's the evolution. It's going to take 2 or 3 generations before somebody in my family line is going to be, just an artist.
I always thought that.
And embrace that.
With my family, I was always like, well, how come they don't say, they don't talk about what I do so much? And I'm I was in The Fighter, they're from Boston, that was huge. And they didn't really talk a lot about it. And I always thought, well, the immature me would be like, oh, they don't give me my credit, they don't. And now I'm like, oh, they just can't fucking believe that I came out of them and that I do this. They're like...
They're dumbfounded. They're fucking dumbfounded. When I tried to explain to my father what a residual was,
right?
he couldn't even he to this day he can't wrap his brain around it
because he can't imagine that you can keep getting paid for something without actually doing the work.
Dad, remember that sidewalk you laid? Remember that sidewalk you laid? He goes, yeah. Because imagine every time somebody walks on that sidewalk, you get paid again. And he went, come on.
Yeah, because he can't imagine being comfortable either, though they can't imagine being comfortable, what we were talking about.
You know what? Here's the sabotage part.
What?
Here's the sabotage part. I've made more money than my father could even fantasize. And yet I'm broke. Do you know what I mean? Because that same part of me that wants and loves to make that kind of money can't hold on to it. I want to have kids. I want to get married a second time. And she's going to have kids. And she's going to be worse off than I am, so I got to take care of them. And I got to take care of this woman because I got her pregnant. So the next thing you know, they're fine. They're great.
Oh.
But what the fuck do I have? I got to keep working. Which reminds me that I didn't do it for the money.
Right.
That I wanted to do it because of what it gives me. But I'm 50 years old now, and I go, okay, can I make a little money now just so I can put away so I can just work with Sue for the rest of my life?
Right.
And not expect the truckloads of cash to come in?
But what about, come on, let's not sabotage it now on the Kadoozie Cast. What about if the truckloads come in from the Kickstarter?
We have to
talk about the Kickstarter.
Here's the thing. Truckloads will come, but not from this.
How do you know?
Well, I'm not saying that it's not.
Oh.
But I'm saying this is, because if it's all connected, this is the beginning of things that will lead to other things, that will lead to other things, that will grow and to blossom, and the thing.
Because that's where I've come to terms with the money and the success.
Absolutely.
Like both.
So what are we asking for Kickstarter?
I'm going to put up the Kickstarter. So the name of the show is going to be...
But you see what I mean? I'm not putting this down at all.
No, I'm teasing.
We're asking for this much right now.
Right.
So we can get that much, and that much, and that much, and that much. So you are on HBO. And it is a big success.
But also not...
And it is leading to other things.
But it's also going to lead to my point of... It's an investment in my way of life. It's not just a show. It's like when people invest in the show, that's why I'm like, why isn't anybody giving me any money? I'm like, maybe because I have to just keep doing it myself. I have to keep asking. I have to keep involving people to be part of the process of investing in something that, you know, what I said, like they'll respond to what you give them.
Yeah.
Like people investing in this show will help change the whole...
I scared you, didn't I?
No, I'm not. For what?
Yeah, you got scared a little bit. Because you think that this isn't going to, like, it's not, the rewards aren't going to be here.
No, I think I identified with your money issues, the whole idea of that.
Yeah.
I'm not scared at all.
Okay, good.
No, I would tell you I was scared.
Because the riches are here.
No, I'm saying I that was a caretaker. I mean, you're not seeing me scared. I'm thinking, no, Rico has to understand that he could do...
Oh, yeah.
You can do both.
Oh,
That's what's going on.
Yeah, good. That's what I'd like to believe.
No, it's more like no, because I identify with that, like pushing the money away because you feel like you're not worthy, because you feel like it has to be one or the other. It either has to be pure or money or... Yeah. And what I've busted my ass to try to do is figure out a way to do something pure with my integrity and make money.
And make money. Yeah, that would be fucking fantastic.
Because I can't be ashamed to say that I want to make money.
No, I love making money.
I have to make money. And I also want to make money because once I give it back, I'm going to do it in a way that people have to do something to get it. It's not going to just be this, like, from my ego to give or to feel, to use money to pay people off. It's going to be like, if I start a foundation, it's going to be you have to do something to get the grants. You have to do something to change the world, to get that, to make people, to actually motivate them, as opposed to just give money to shut them up.
Well, I'm a believer in contributing to the economy. I like paying my taxes.
Mm-hmm. It's like the flow thing.
Yeah, I like paying my taxes because taxes gives me police and fire and people who protect me and take care of me. And you know what I mean? It's not going somewhere. And I want to be a contributor. I want to participate.
But I think the money thing is a huge... It's that working class, like...
Yeah.
Well, the chance of a rich man getting into heaven is the same as a camel getting through the eye of a needle.
Yeah. But...
I told my Sephardic friend that.
Yeah.
He was like, what the fuck are you talking about? I go, that's what we were taught. He goes, if you have a lot of money, you can do a lot of good.
Yeah, you can do a lot of good.
And when he said that to me, my shame was lifted.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I had so much shame. The reason why I made the money is because I was the one that was doing all the showing up.
Yeah.
I lost that somewhere in the equation.
Yeah.
And if I make money now, the 15 years that I've been working on my show, I didn't have a dime. I had no money. So... Whatever money, if I make a lot of money after, it's just going to equalize what I didn't make before. That's big risk, big payoff, or whatever.
Yeah.
But the Kickstarter, and it's the same thing. So my philosophy in life, who I am as a person, my show is myself personified, and now the growth of it, like the Kickstarter, I was like, well, why don't I just be easy does it and ask for $12,000? And that's the bare bones to get us to do the 2 weeks in LA to see what's
Phase
there.
1.
Phase 1. And the name of the show is I Wasn't Trying to Be Funny. And I think you can go on... We haven't put it up yet, but it's going to be on Kickstarter by the time this goes up.
Yeah.
On iTunes, it'll be up. But you go to Kickstarter, you can search Sue Costello One Woman Show, or I Wasn't Trying to Be Funny, or Sue Costello, or just one person shows, and you can find the Kickstarter. And I think we're figuring out what people can get. Like, if they give $25, I send them an email.
Yeah.
If they give more, then they get...
And we'll put our voices on their... outgoing voice message or something.
It goes all the way up to like a Skype. They can talk to me about the show on a Skype. I'll do a 20-minute stand-up performance in their house at a private party for them.
That's fantastic.
So there's a whole... I'll send you the stuff later on to see what they get.
That's great.
So that motivates people to get...
I mean, I'm sure I've got one or two fans out there that might pay $25 for me to come over and high-five them or something.
And I also put they might have the possibility of being an associate producer if they give big bucks.
Well, you invite them to the opening night. Right?
Well, if we get a lot of money, we can have a party.
Yeah. The party's important. think you got to have a party.
We got to have a party.
Yeah.
But we got to just get the money for the
And you
party.
invite them.
But I think being open like that is cool with people.
You know what?
Just tell them what we're doing.
That's a beautiful thing. I think I'm glad you said that because I always, boy, oh boy, I always knew the importance of money, and when people give like that, when they're what's the word? They're charitable like that. Mm-hmm. They really are doing good. They really are helping.
And they really like your talent. Like some people give me donations on this podcast.
Yeah.
They just go to and they put a donation. That's and I'm fantastic. Like, oh, they purely just gave me their money because they like what I'm talking. Like, that's so awesome to me. So I'm finding that balance between making money and doing what I purely love.
Yeah. That's great.
And man, did it kill. I thought I was going to die, but I didn't die. And thank God I didn't die because now I'm doing it. Yeah. And just slowly. We can just do it slowly and treat it with the respect that it deserves. And phase 1.
Yeah.
And then phase 2 will be a little bigger and we'll add the other elements. And like I met with this Broadway girl the other day and she's like, you got to have this, you got to have that. I'm like, okay. I don't know what that is when they see a little bit of success and they just, rah. I used to be susceptible to it. And now I'm like, whatever. I've been broke for 15 years. I can make it another 7 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? Because the enticing, especially at this point, where you're really like, okay, I really want it. That's when you have to really hold on to your integrity and your character and just go, easy does it, Sue.
You know, I mean, we're all going to die, right?
Mm.
It's really about getting there, right?
I was listening to the Dropkick Murphys on the way here, that song, I'm Going Out in Style.
Yeah.
And I was listening to it blaring thinking, I'm going to go out in style.
Yeah.
When I die, I'm going to have left what it is that I think.
Yeah.
And you're helping me. How awesome is it, everybody? Yeah. It's like amazing.
Sorry. We got a little down on it.
No, we're not down. It's awesome.
I'm getting down.
Because we're going to die?
No, that excites me. Not at my own hands. I promise.
Please don't let this be the Kadoozie cast where.
Please, no.
I'll get a lot of hits.
I love my life too much. But
I'll get a lot of hits, but it won't be worth it.
But you know what? When I hear about just people who are focused like yourself, I feel like I'm not on the right train yet. So this is helping me. This is really, really good for me because I love my kids. But kids will kill creativity.
Well, I'm sure they take a lot of energy. Yeah. I would imagine.
And I'm not even their primary caretaker. Do you know what I mean? Their mom is there, you know, getting them ready for school and stuff like that. But I'm doing my share by going to find the next job. But it's true. I'd like to be able to.
But you are doing it.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
But I have to tell you, this is what's so cool. Okay, so you email me after I leave LA, and you're like, I want more.
Yeah,
you want more. Okay.
Yeah.
So then I realize,
I want more.
So then I realize, time goes by. You have all this stuff, the pressure and everything. And I go, I have to go remind Rico.
You have to go remind Rico.
Remind, like, because life goes by and everything, and then all of a sudden we work and you're like, oh yeah, that energy is so like, that's why I say, well, why would I write a show about hope when everybody can be mean to me along the way while I'm doing the show? And I'm like, because I need to keep reminding everybody. I need them to be able to know. I need to be the one with the hope that shows it to everybody, because everybody lifts up from it. Every single person that I sit around lifts up from it.
Yeah, they do.
So I know what my job is now. Instead of acting like a baby, like, why doesn't anybody take care of me? I'm like, no, Sue, it's your job. You have to keep pushing through and reminding everybody. Because whatever reason, you got this energy and you have to do it.
And you do.
And it works.
It really works.
I sit with people that are really sad and I just sit with them and they're like, Sue, I feel better. And I'm like, ah!
Yeah. Yeah.
Which brings us back to people hungry for it, because otherwise they would say, oh, Sue's calling again.
Yeah. Yeah. I want more.
Yay! All right, everybody, Kickstarter. Give us $1 or $25 or whatever you can afford. And watch it grow, baby. Thanks for talking, Rico.
Hey, thanks for having me here in New York.
Bye, everybody.